In this presentation, I'll be discussing the importance of the megalithic structure of Stonehenge located in southern England, and what the fundamental purpose of that structure is, being constructed of a henge with a circular ditch and mound, within which a number of stones were constructed over the course of many hundreds of years, ultimately leading to the great sarsen stones that people think of when they think of Stonehenge. These megalithic stones reaching 4 or 5 meters above the ground surface and constructed in a fashion to create circular and horseshoe-shaped structures within the center of the area. And it is those stones that people think of when they think of Stonehenge, but Stonehenge is so much more than those particular stones, and there are important configurations of circular structures of wood and stone in tandem with the circular henge itself that lead to my finding that Stonehenge is not simply a structure that allows a person 4,500 years ago to identify where the solstice sun will rise and fall, as well as the moon rise and setting at its standstills, a maximum and minimum locations for rising and setting. Stonehenge is so much more than recognizing alignments associated with the sun and the moon. As I demonstrate in my book, The Sacred Sphere, megalithic structures, whether they are circular, square, such as the square base of the Great Pyramids, or many other sacred monumental structures from ancient times. These structures are meant to represent a spherical form. And this is the case in cultures throughout the world. Interestingly, for Stonehenge, then, as a circular structure, and as I show in my book, the circle is representing a symbol of a sphere. So these circle monuments, such as Stonehenge, are not simply circles for determining alignments horizontally for risings and settings of the sun and the moon, but recognizing the geometries and understanding the geometry over time of the cosmic dome, which includes not just the sun and moon, but planets and stars for the most part. You can observe comets and other temporal features of the cosmos, but the stars and the planets were vitally important, understanding the geometry and how they moved throughout time to ancient and indigenous peoples. And this was the real reason for Stonehenge itself, I believe, was understanding the relationship of space and time and how the movement of the stars and the planets changes over very long periods of time. This is what the ancient people of southern England were intending to study with Stonehenge. And so we'll be discussing that in the presentation. The basic concept is to realize that the spherical structure is represented by these circles, and stones placed in a circle so that one can measure the rotation and changes of star locations, for example, over time, with the alignment of particular stones. So one could determine the rate of change, ultimately the rate of precession that occurs as a particular movement, a wobble of the earth itself, and being able to measure that with respect to what one observes from a perspective of standing on the earth and looking up at the sky. The ultimately what we'll find with Stonehenge is that there's a very specific constellation that is used to do these long-term measurements. And I'll be identifying that constellation and its great purpose in the construction of Stonehenge itself back in about 2500 BC.